Hello, people. This is Real Talk, Real People, your humble host, Current Events, and it is part two of the Great Faulkner Initiative. We're going to jump into the second half of the areas of activity and these initiatives that we need to jump into. As you saw, part one, amazing. Um, Never really had me rethinking black male involvement in law enforcement, military, um, just labor, anything like that. Like it just kind of makes sense. So I'm really excited. I was really taken back and excited about part one. So we're about to jump into part two. So the just I'm gonna scroll down here. There we go. So here we go. So we did military, law, and labor. Now we're gonna do economics, education, and politics. Now, as you can see, the first three fields were male dominated. Not to say there won't be any women involved if we start following this plan, but these are male dominated based off the strengths of the male. The next three we're doing are female dominated spaces where they should be going into, where they are dominant in this area. And by each person getting into their particular field, we can help mend, transform, and save the community. I love saying that. The idea of it is very exciting. So let's jump into that. We're gonna head over to economics. Economics. Okay. Economics in the modern era is one of the central unifiers within all areas of human activity. It is the essential tool required to maintain a stable and structured family unit, home environment, community, and even a nation as a whole, which depends on these micro units of society in order to maintain societal stability. Unfortunately, Black American males who are the most negatively affected by the previously aforementioned impedance of maldistribution of wealth, resource, and opportunities are most often the most unemployed group of any other demographic, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. However, it comes to the case of Black American women, they do not have as high of an unemployment rate as Black American men. This explains why Black American women have historically held the purse strings of the Black American community. By the comparison, Black women are most employed group by gender in the Black American community. So hopefully you guys can see this. We'll go slow. This is the Bureau of Labor Statistics household unemployment. And this breaks it down via white, black. So let's take a look at this data here. So this is the employment status as of early 2018 or mid 2018 and 2019 during the summer months and some spring months. So wow, okay. Black American. So if we're looking at men of 20 years or over, in the civilian labor force, it was like 9,410 compared to the white civilian labor force, which was men 65,957. So it's a huge disparity. Huge, tremendous. Now let's see where we're at compared to our women, although we don't like to compare, but this is the data. So civilian labor force, we were at 9,410, not seasonally adjusted. And our women were at women 20 years old. Civilian labor force were 10,000. So our women edge us out with more jobs. They really edge us out across the board, actually. There are more women employed just under that than men. Employed 19,000. Women. No. 8,000. Yeah, so basically, based off the data here, We're being edged out by our women tremendously, and that's having a huge effect versus if we look at our white counterparts here, employ 53,000. So the men out. Okay, so this is huge. So if we look at our white counterparts, the men are more employed than the women, and then in the black community, the women are more employed than the men. Now, you can take your own conclusions from that, but I mean, it's clear that there's a power differential and definitely a power dynamic that needs to be adjusted. And there are reasons for this data, as he had mentioned before. I'd be curious to think what you guys are thinking about the difference on why black men are employed less than black women. That'd be interesting. All right, so let's see what he extrapolates from this data. This data is very telling, though it is only a micron of data when compared to the data found in the study of the racial wealth gap. The reason we assign economics to black American women in the Great Faulkner Initiative is because black American women are more employed than black American men and therefore as a group have more money. Boom. Black American women, for the most part, are more organized than black American men, and they're easier to organize around financial, wage, salary, and overall economic issues in general. Again, these are strengths that each gender has. Nothing wrong with that. Black American women are more likely to financially support community-based efforts and causes as well as initiatives that revolve around children. Absolutely. Spare no expense in my experience. Black American women have a tendency to swiftly mobilize both social and financially around them and their interests faster than black Americans do. That's absolutely true. You know, we saw the whole shea butter, not just the shea butter issue, but black women do be mobilized around what they want. They be making it happen. Therefore, they make the best possible candidates for resource aggregation to make local economic and political initiatives a success. Black women are the driving force behind that. They can do this using their exceptional ability to network, convince other black American women to mobilize and get organized. However, it requires a new focus on black American women. As it stands currently, black American women prioritize faith-based and gender-based initiatives in more than anything. For example, the black church. The black church generates approximately $13 billion a year, according to a November 2013 study conducted by the Michigan Chronicle. The black church's largest demographic audience is black American women. This is where the change of focus comes into play. Diverting that $13 billion from the black church alone can transform a majority of black American cities into a mecca. Absolutely. When we do the math on this, we find a brilliant ray of hope on the other side of this equation. So here's an example. There are approximately 45 million black Americans in the United States. Dividing 13 billion by 45 million people renders $288.88 a person. That is enough money to cover health care insurance for every black American child under the age of 18. That's true. That is enough money to dominate entire industries, institutions, or area of human activity such as retail, agriculture, beauty supply, education, or entertainment. That is enough liquid to shelter every homeless black American child or provide childcare or childcare alternatives for single black American mothers. And it's also enough to pay for STEM, trade, EMS, EMT, firefighter training, or criminal justice education for black Americans interested in law enforcement. 5. That is enough capital used the combined economic power to create opportunities to push more black teachers, train them, and even create an entire alternative learning academy. This is plenty of capital to affect policy on a local level in your city and state, from mayoral elections, for city council, sheriffs, judges, city court officials, teacher boards, superintendents, governors, or other state representatives. These are the people that can correct city, local, state, and impedances such as police profiling, police brutality, discrimination, or housing and employment discrimination. This is what is possible with the finances diverted from the black church alone. Again, that's just the black church alone. However, with this amount of capital, the possibilities are near endless. The best thing about this process is it does not require Black Americans to wait for a long, lengthy process, but just a simple reallocation of money that's currently being poured into the church. Imagine what you can do if we diverted money spent on entertainment. That's true, that's a valid point. Education. There are three historic pillars of Black American progress in the United States as it pertains to opposing systematic and institutional racism. Those three pillars are military service, academic excellence, and political participation. These three pillars have helped Black Americans make some tremendous social, economic, and political advancements. However, there's still much progress to be made. Education has always been an essential and critical facet of American society, but especially so the Black American community, and specifically the case of the Black American woman. Black American women are the most educated not only within the Black American community, but in America as a whole. Academically, Black American women earn more degrees by percentage than other demographics. Therefore, they are the most qualified to fulfill their roles as teachers, absolutely, because they are the most educated and most degreed demographic. There's no reason why they should not also be a majority of public school teachers within the Black American community. Currently, Black American teachers make up less than 6% of all American teachers. I did not know that. All right, racial breakdown of America's teachers 2015-2016. Wow, so they estimated that out of 3,827,100 public school teachers in the United States, slightly more than 80% of them were white, while less than half of the students were white. Interesting. So that's a white-dominated field, teaching everyone. And then the next highest would be Hispanic, and then the next highest would be Black, and then we go to two or more races, and then American Indian. This represents a tremendous underrepresentation of Black American teachers in proportion to the Black American population. Also, it's one of the clearest displays of maldistribution of resources and opportunities that grossly ignored and neglected impedance. Percentage of distribution of associate's degrees and bachelor's degrees awarded by degree-giving post-secondary institutions by racial ethnicity. So yeah, I think across the board, it appears women get more degrees across the board. Black women, by percentage, earn more degrees than their white, Asian, Hispanic, female counterparts, according to the data, yet make up less than the proportionate number of American teachers. It'd be remiss if it were not acknowledged that racism is a contributing factor. Absolutely. There are two solutions to neutralizing this impedance. This is what I love about this. They got solutions, man. It's a real plan. It's a real initiative. 1. Use the political process at local levels to push for pipelines for potential and willing Black American teachers. This is a lengthy legislative process that yields solid long-term effects. 2. Pour into the Department of Education and hire consistency. Make Department of Education your institution. It requires ready and willing candidates to already have an education-related degree or background. Furthermore, it suggests that you start at K through 6, which are the most critical school years for a child's life. Education plus opportunity equals excellence. I agree. Because Black American women hold the purse strings of the Black American community, this can be a much easier task than the legislative process. Though the legislative process should remain as a long-term goal, while ready and willing candidates push into the Department of Education at a higher consistency, do you know the tremendous difference it makes simply by having Black American teachers teaching Black American children is huge. According to the National Public Radio article by Anya Kamenetz, April 10th, 2017, just having one Black teacher can keep Black kids in school. Very true. Black American boys are less susceptible to detention, suspension, expulsion, or dropping out K through 12 because they can better relate to the teachers that look like them. However, just simply having a Black American as a teacher for Black American male students increases their chances of being productive men and productive members of society. While long-term effects will cut off or limit the effects of state-manufactured obstacles that impede and disadvantaged Black American boys, such as No Child Left Behind policy, which has decreased the quality of public school education. Atlanta Journal-Constitution, November 13th, 2018. Now we're getting into politics. Politics is everything, all policies institutional. All politics are rooted in the local politicity in the arena of politics, and it's virtually impossible to affect policy on a federal level. If we do not develop and amass a local and state level constituent base on the state level, it is possible and quite achievable to get a precedent set in a state that can be used for greater consideration of proposal on a federal level. Take, for example, Alabama setting precedent in a nothing short of incredible overruling of Roe versus Wade. Yeah, that was incredible. Which outlawed abortion in Alabama statewide, which has been made for consideration of national dissolving of Roe versus Wade. Another example is the Minnesota state 15-hour minimum wage law, which is now being considered for national legislation. Currently, Black women outnumber Black men in politics nearly 6-1. That's absolutely true. And therefore, that makes them excellent candidates for the political base. Black women as a demographic group are overrepresented in politics. However, that is not a point of contention. What is a point of contention is the representation is often used to fulfill gender-based initiatives that only benefit Black American girls or party-based politics, while Black American boys are politically abandoned, while Black American women hold the majority of the Black American community's political capital. There's been a rising sentiment among Black American women claiming there's not enough upwardly mobile Black American men to marry. However, it has never been considered that this is a long-term effect of focusing too much on the gender and party-based politics and not enough focus on policies that affect the Black American community as a whole. What is required for Black American women to use political capital they already have to open doors and opportunities for young Black American males. You can do this by using the political influence you currently have by creating a policy for homeschooling alternatives, pipelines for employment for Black American police, EMT, EMS, firefighters, STEM apprentices, or removing discriminatory zoning laws that prevent Black American youth from going to better schools outside of their zones. One hand feeds the other hand. This incentivizes parents to take more parent-involved approach, not only in the political process, but in the education of Black American youth. Because now there's something tangible, knowing there will be more opportunities for Black American children. This opportunity or this approach can be a massive benefit to guard against mass incarceration and ending the school to prison pipeline. This approach can be instrumental in ending the war on drugs, which is primarily a war on Black American community as confessed by former President Nixon's Domestic Affairs Counselor John Ehrlichman. Quote from Legalize It All, April 2016. This can also be a strategy used as a push to end the exploitation of family courts by creating a more involved environment, and the best part about it is getting involved as a parent or even a concerned, committed, and dedicated volunteer of the community. We don't have to wait for a long legislative process. Again, it is emphasized that in order to have an equitable yet targeted focus, we must divide the burden of pursuits of this initiative along gender lines according to in each gender's strengths and weaknesses. This is again not to say there should be exclusively male or female, but it is incumbent upon the entire group to be involved where we fit as Black American men and women in the community. However, it is a recommendation we think should be strongly adhered to. Going back to the question earlier, who holds this power and how can this power be acquired? The answer by now should be clear. We understand the impedances, and the answer is that the institution, either those we build ourselves or those that already exist, it is evident that the power has always been in the hands of the people. Every solution within the great Faulkner Initiative are actions we control, and all it requires is action. Action by those who are ready, willing, driven, and determined, and committed, and dedicated. This is the reason we call it an initiative, because to execute a set of plans such as this one requires initiative. Lit. That's very lit. That's very lit. What we must do in conjunction. That's very lit. I think we're just gonna go. We're gonna go for it all. We're gonna finish it. We're going to finish this one. What we must do in conjunction. There is a rising sentiment in older Black American males who think it's not their responsibility. They've become uncaring, unconcerned, or apathetic. However, there is no solution in doing nothing. This is about rallying our collective human capital from across all socioeconomic, class strata in a nonpartisan effort to improve the conditions and quality of life for young Black American youth, and more specifically, Black American boys, whom have been the most negatively affected demographic by institutionalized disenfranchisement. We want to do this without alienating our Black American girls. Inaction only further contributes to the impeding progress of the Black Americans as a group. Therefore, doing nothing or not wanting to get involved is not a solution. It is incumbent upon us to create and support community-based micro-institutions, programs such as mentorship. Despite what the mainstream wants you to believe, mentorship does work. Having a male figure there just to talk about male issues is sometimes enough to stave off and prevent these young men from falling into state-manufactured traps such as mass incarceration. It is important for boys to have their own male-dominated spaces and structures, those that are created by men who have a sense of duty to their community. Do away with gender and party-based politics. These party and gender-based politics have become a major set of divides in the ideology of liberal versus conservative, or Democrat versus Republican. These divides are impedances to effective policy. For example, party politics has led to the Black American community to be putting itself on the back burner for the benefit of immigration, LGBTQ, private multinational corporations, foreign interests, and we want to focus on the policy only, not party or gender. Another way you can change the environment and the narrative is through a technique called help hunting. Yes, once a week, go out into your community and look for Black American people in your locale that require help. This sounds great. Fixing a flat tire, pulling over when you see a car when its hazards on, seeing someone at a local bus stop that needs a ride, stopping for someone that needs a jump or other car assistance. Just pull over and ask them if they need help, need a ride. You want the respect of your community? Well, the best way to do that is by being a help hunter. You may think it is insignificant, but it is not. It is very significant and displays initiative, winning hearts and minds, and begins with small acts of courtesy or generosity. If you are a part of the organization while you're help hunting, this is a perfect time to pass on some information about your organization. And when it comes to support a person you have helped, is more likely to support your organization. This is a proactive approach to changing the environment and narrative through your actions. And the best part about this micro tactic is you don't have to wait for anyone to give you permission, give you a permit, or give you a degree, or give you a license. I love that. I do some of that already. I love seeing that sentence plan. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh man, I love that. Ooh, okay. Getting organized. In some instances, you may want to get involved, but don't know where to start. Getting organized is really quite simple. The difficulty is the commitment. I agree. Here are some steps to help you get organized. Have your big idea, which is the main objective of your mission. In the groundwork of organizing, creating a list of bullet points, list what your main objective entails. 2. Seek out other individuals. Pitch your idea with the intent of attracting allies to you. This group of individuals become the brain trust. 3. Find a central location for the brain trust to meet on a routine basis, and you and those individuals must be fully committed to these regular meetings for the sole purpose of creating new and inventive ideas that will be used to achieve the main objective. This gives you a chance to identify specific strengths and weaknesses of your brain trust. This man is telling you how to make a think tank, man. Look at this, man. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This man is giving you the blueprint. These men are giving you the blueprint for making your own think tank. Wow. 4. Pooling resources, whether it's financial or sweat equity, for the purpose of creating a financial pool. At this point, pooled financial resources should be used to create programs or host events for the purpose of bringing people together in order to expand your base, which brings in more financial resources. 5. Assign and allocate tasks amongst members to create a successful campaign. In organizing, it is an ongoing campaign to create support base, which requires the workload to spread out. By now, you should know everyone's strengths and weaknesses and assign tasks to each member according to their strengths. This process can be used to supplement the gaps between the institution and the community, such as after-school programs for tutoring, study groups, book clubs, debate teams, youth camps of Black American children, archery clubs, financial education classes, community activism, entrepreneurship courses, wrestling, other martial arts programs. Possibilities are endless, and there are possibilities we can control. Conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is imperative to make progress. Conflict is a grave impedance, but it's an impedance that we can remove ourselves. It requires no policy or long legislative process. It requires no license or degree. All it requires is effort. There should be concerted effort by two conflicting persons and parties within the American community to resolve almost any conflict. This can be employed in the help hunter strategy or the 5 steps of getting organized. After you've organized, a body has established itself. In fact, many Black American community-based organizations revolve around conflict resolution to minimize things like intercultural crime, gun violence, and often acts of mediators between two conflicting persons or groups. However, it is incumbent upon members of the Black American community to get involved to help minimize conflicts within the community. Community policing, mediation, to help get rid of all this heavy brother killing brother, sister killing sister. Oh my gosh. This is such a good plan. Sorry, this is such a good initiative. It's not a plan. This is stuff we once you get done watching this video, these are things you can do right now. You don't have to wait. Oh, I love this. Oh, you see how excited I'm getting? Okay. All right. We want to reemphasize that this is not a perfect plan, but it is a plan, and doing nothing is not a solution or an option. And that's it. That is the Gray Faulkner Initiative. I absolutely love this. I endorse this 100%. Oh man, this is awesome. I love they broke it down. You know, this was very easy to understand. It's not complicated at all. This is something we all can get on board with. It's not going to take us out of our way. It's not going to be super ridiculously time consuming. If we all get on board with this, there is absolutely no way our community will not get better. There's no way. If we just do these simple tweaks and fixes, there's no way our community will deteriorate, be in survival mode, all of that, if we just do this. And this is just one plan. I'm sure there's 100 other plans out there. But this right here, this is truth. This is long-term and short-term. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. And the ease of implementation is just second to none. So everybody, tell me what you think. I mean, does the Gray Faulkner Initiative seem good to you? Does this seem like something you can get on board with? Do you think it's going to help you? Do you think it's going to hurt you? Do you see any holes in this initiative? Is there things we can do better? Is this it? You know, I mean, let us know. Again, this is Real Talk, Real People, your host, Current Events, and this was part 2 of the Gray Faulkner Initiative overview and showcase. Have a wonderful day. Stay real.